Right. So here's the first thing I want us to really understand. By the way, there will be a time for question, so you can ask question, right? Yes, you can ask question, right? So this is the first thing I want us to really get. So I think I will start this way. Uh, I went through many of us that signed up, right? And there were a few things I could see from what we aim to get out of this session. Some talked about how to, start well when it comes to academics. Some talked about to have a good grade, a good CGPA, which is the focus of this session. Some people were asking, some people wanted to get exam strategies and preparation, but there were other people that were interested in managing multiple things together. And for that one, we'll not be covering that here because that's not the focus of this session. But I'm glad to announce that there's another session coming up, and which I would obviously let you know towards the end of this session, that focuses on managing multiple things together, right? When it comes to, let's say, career, leadership, and let's say academics, right? Things like that. Yeah. All right. Okay. Then we can move on now. So the first thing I want you to really understand is that school is a system. Yeah, it is a system. It's a system. And you need to really understand that it sounds very simple, but it is very important that you understand that school is a system. That's why you call it an academic system, right? There are all kinds of systems in the world of the political system, right? I hope you can hear me correctly, properly. I have my standing for here. I hope that sound is not into the call. Just okay, you can hear me. Okay, all right. So school is a system, right? The word is called a system. Here is a system. System is basically uh, a particular goal. So it's a system also. We have political system. You have all kinds of systems. You can understand how a system works, right? You can be able to replicate its results. It's just the truth. Yes, it may not be as even even after you finish university, right? Even the outside world, when it comes to applying for all those things, is a system. And if you understand it, you can master it. You can master it, and then uh, do the things that are needed to make the system work, and you can replicate the results. So school is a system. That's the first thing I want you to put in mind, right? The system. Okay, let's look at it. How is it a system, right? You come into the university. Uh, the the economy is designed that you need to have a degree to be term employable, right? For instance, right, you need to have a degree to be recognized as doctor, this engineer, this blah blah blah. So everybody wants to go to school, right? And second, another one is that you need to have a degree, right, to get a role, right? So everybody wants to go to school. It's a system. And then when you come to the academic system, you have series of courses for every semester that you need to pass. If you don't pass them, you don't move forward, right? And if you pass them, then you can move towards to the next level. For instance, 200 level, 300 level, and the likes, right? And eventually, at the end of the day, it's 3-year course, 4-year course, 5-year course, right, or 6-year course, as the case may be. You would notice that then you are now um you are not awarded, or you are allowed, right, to graduate, and then you are given a certificate, right? You are awarded the system. So that's the first thing you need to have in mind. The system that works in the academic sector is different from the system that works in the economic sector. That is the reason why when people finish school, right, especially people that have a system in school, and they try to replicate that system outside, it doesn't work, right? It doesn't work because it's a different system. And if you can master that other system, then you can also succeed. But let's move on. Secondly, right, what I want to do is that I would want you to, because everything you want to achieve something, you want to come, you want to achieve a goal, you want to do something. It starts with a mental frame. We are going to go into, how the things to do, things to avoid, the strategies. But first of all, right, is the fact that you need to position your mind in a way that you believe, right, that it is possible. It is possible. Yes, it is possible. I will share some experience with you so that I will make this thing as real as possible, right? When Timothy's here with me, right? When we entered I'm a graduate of Girls University. I forgot to introduce myself. Although majority of the people on the course should know me, but not all people, because we have people from different universities here. But I'm a graduate from Girls University. When I entered Bells, I think during my 100 level, 200 level, I think around that time, yes, I was able to meet. I met Timothy on 100 level. Then there was a time where he shared a resource with me, a recording with me, right? A recording, and that recording was majorly based on someone's else experience, right, through his journey of campus life, and focuses on how that he was he was not just determined to have an excellent grade, but how God helped him, right? So when I listened to that, it was I think about 3 hours. It created a possibility in my mind, and that's the truth. It created a possibility in my mind, in my mind, this is possible, because until you believe it is possible, right, you cannot even start taking the steps towards it. So that you believe is possible. Because so that that goal I have in my mind will become the reality at the end of the day. Because obviously you need to put in work, right? You need to do something. Don't just have it in your head, don't just have it in your mind. For it to become a reality, there are things that you need to do. So, but the first thing is that you capture the possibility. I think another example I can give about the possibility is obviously that is going to be relevant in in the other event that is coming up in probably a week or 2 weeks time. But this is when I was in 200 level, I saw people that were in 500 level or 400 level at that time that were excelling not just academically, they were excelling they were excelling um socially, that people they relate to people, they were excelling spiritually, they were excelling like all around career wise. And I was like, how can this be possible? Like, how can it be possible? And I saw people that were working in this reality. Like it did something to it created a possibility in my mind. Like, so this is possible. That was the question I had. So this is possible. And because of that, that that singular reason to say that this is possible, that brought me to a place where I strive or I pursue what I've seen, right? Not just to be good academically, spiritually, career-wise, even as a student. And that's what eventually happened, because I was able to capture the possibility. So I want to see this event not just as you know, just hear 1 or 2 things to do, but like see it as somebody sharing their experience of what they have lived. So let it create a possibility in your mind of what is possible. It's very powerful. I can tell you that for free. It's very powerful. Very, very powerful. Wow. So, like I said, right, when you have that possibility, right, when you capture the possibility, your actions, your what you do, everything just flows in the direction of what you have captured in your mind, right? Have asked different people on campus, what do you have in mind? What CGPA do you have in mind that you can ever have? Just tell me. So like literally, when people don't actually care, right? And it's not a crime, right? It depends on you. It's your choice. When people don't actually care, they will say like, they can have 4.0. I'm okay. So that kind of person can never have 4.5. If he has 4.5, it has to be a mistake. Are you with me? It's to be a mistake. So you have to have a mental frame. And the beauty of this thing, right? Let me explain to you. The beauty of having to capture a possibility is that if you don't fall close to, if you don't hit the target, majority of the time you'll fall close to it. I've seen it over the years, right? I just have in my mind 5.0. I don't say anything less. I don't. Sometimes it feels like, what's wrong with this guy? Why is it like this? Come on now. But that's just how my mind has gotten to be framed, because I listened to someone else's story, and it's possible, and what God was able to achieve through him throughout his campus life, and that created a possibility within me that this is possible. It is possible. I've seen it. So what that we do is that, like for me now, every semester, like there were semesters I had 5.0, there were semesters I did not have, right? There were semesters I had 4.75, and the likes. But the thing I'm trying to say that if you don't hit the goal, probably due to one reason or the other, because even in the system, there are different things that can happen. You will most likely fall closer to the goal. You will most likely fall closer to the. Just follow me. My video can turn off and on listening, right? That's very important. You will most likely fall close to the goal. I remember my first semester in Dutch University, I had a 4.5, right? I was like 4.5, 4.5. And the thing was that at the beginning, I didn't have goal. I was not I just knew that I have to, right? But I'm saying most likely fall close to it if you don't eat it after capturing the possibility. So, and then, like I said, yeah, a fixed goal dramatically increases your chance of eating it, even if you miss your meat, right? It's not, you can't teacher was sleeping, and teacher marks your screen time. Oh, she gave me the mark, or the added mark for you guys, or something like that. That's a luck. When it comes to a result that can be reproduced consistently, imagine over the space of 5 years, it's not luck. It's not luck again. There was a system around it that allowed that result to replicate, right? So now, uh, how to prepare for exam when the time is short? Because while creating this event from a place of wanting to give back, especially to Best University, but I know that there'll be people that will be outside of Bells that would also want to learn from this, right? So I know from experience that the time that we are in now, exams are closed for Bells University. I don't know for every university, but I know that exams are closed for Bells University. But obviously, people outside of Bells learn from this, can learn from this definitely. So, how do you prepare for exam when exam is short? Because there have been times, Timothy can testify. There have been times whereby we prepare for exam when time is very short, and I think most of those times, like during this Christmas break, you just go home and rest. You don't want to read any book, not because we can't read, but like we've been in school the whole time. Want to come home and rest and spend time with family, right? And then you didn't read anything throughout that time, right? I'm just saying from experience, right? Then you resume back and you have like probably like few weeks to exam, probably 2 weeks or more. But most time I think 2, 3 weeks to exam, right? Yeah, like how do we do this? How do we do this? Like a challenge, like, oh God, okay. We need to catch up. We need to catch up very fast. So that is why I put it up here, right? But obviously, if you still have time before your exams, then you can create a plan, right, to read at a certain time every day, right, so that you can be able to cover up a lot. That works very well. That works. Whatever works for you on that. But now, after prepare for exam, when exam is short, you need strategy. You need this. You can't just read. You can't just read anyhow and expect to get a result. You get anyhow results too. So some of the things that I've been able to do, right, personally, I've been able to do throughout my years on campus that I feel like would help. They are not limited to this, definitely. There's no one way to it. But I believe that this would help. One thing is that you need to understand your lecturer. And most students they overlook this. I'm telling you, overlook this. This understanding your lecturer was something that God taught me, right? God taught me. Now, for instance, you have different lecturer teaching you probably different courses, right? Most times different courses. Now, beyond the course is separate from the lecturer. Yes, you need to understand the lecturer because it's the one teaching you the course, the one that is going to mark your script, is the one that literally determines a whole lot about you, about that course, right? You're passing that course, everything. So it is very good that you understand. When I mean understand the lecturer, I mean like the lecturers you can specify the lecturers that, for instance, when they want to because see, if you don't, you what you will do is that you'll be using the same way of writing for every lecturer. And if you do that, right, it's not gonna work. It's not going to work. Although one of the major ways for me that I use, right, that I use all round, to be honest, that I use all round is this is a rule of thumb that I use all around when I'm writing my exams. I I'm like, for instance, I'm like, I spent almost 2 months plus 3 months plus studying one course. Then one day, just one, not even one day, about 2 to 3 hours will determine everything I've learned for the past 2 to 3 months. I'm like, okay, if that's the case, then it means that I'm going to write as much as I know. That's my own rule of thumb. That's just like I do many times, right? I must write as much as I know, as much as I know. Everybody knows me. I don't. I use my 5 minutes. Me that 3 or 2 hours. No, it's very important. And you can easily do this by just sitting down with the class. And I don't, it's not in the class. As you are hearing the lecturer speak, right? You can be able to see, how do I put it? You can be able to see his mind through the words that he speaks. It's very possible, yes. You can be able to see his thought process, what he's saying, how he's saying things. If you pay close attention, it's very possible, yeah. So, second one is that may I not work for everybody because people that towards exam, it is a good thing, right? Okay, let me put it this way: you can read alone, but make sure that you have a group of people that you read with because that can hasten, right? Because it can hasten your understanding, can hasten you love, right? Because you have to then you have to second event in the other event you will see. So, but we used to read together. And sometimes when we feel like time is so short, what do? We take a particular course and then we split the course into different sections or different topics. I will tell you, read this part, read this part, read this part, read this part. And then after like And the aim of doing that is to understand it. You're not trying to cram. No, not trying to cram. People cram. Yeah, I know that, but cramming will not help you in the long run. Just understand what is going on. At least have an understanding, and I will still get there, right? Be able to attach what you are being taught to a real world example. That's what changes your reading. It changes your understanding. I'm telling you. So what we do then is that everybody will just read something. Or let's say I know a topic. I've been reading a topic before this time that's close to exam. I'll just come and I will just explain to everybody in simple terms. Then everybody pick it immediately. We move on quickly, like because time is so short, right? So have a group of people, like can form a group. It doesn't have to be too deep, right? Put it together, explain, explain to each other, right? You've read those concept, right? And that's it. Because when you understand the concept of a thing, you can you can write you can write about it. Because for you to understand the concept, it means that you've understood why this thing exists, and apart from doing that, you've understood how that thing applies in the real world. Okay, let me give you an example, right? Let me look for a topic so that I'll make it very practical. Let me look for a topic. So I study computer science in Nbyak University. I'm trying to pick a topic. So let's say memory and like storage when it comes to computer, like my laptop I'm using now, right? So memory and storage. Or memory, let's say you want to understand memory. What exactly is memory? I can't really picture it. So for me, I have a system. I've researched about it. I've read about it. But now I'm not looking at how can memory, how can it be useful in real life? Like I want to be able to touch this thing tangibly. I want to understand it. Then you begin to see that your memory, your storage are used in computers, phones, devices. You begin to understand like this is what they do. They store this for you. So now that you're able to connect that dot, you can't miss it again. No, it's not possible. If you miss the definition that was given to you in the textbook, you can still write something about it because you've connected it to what? To something that is real, not just words that are packed up in your head. But something that is real. And that a lot of time. There are times that I do a lot of things happen during exam. Exam is I don't know. A lot of things happen, but there are times that you don't even know. You don't even definition of that everything just relate. So you be like, what do I do that? Time is going Jesus. So now, what I do sometimes that really helps me is that I know that I've attached that thing to the real world scenario. Like I told you about memory or storage in the computer, right? Storage, computer storage, and things like that. I begin to now write from that understanding, right? I begin to I can't remember the legal definition of storage that my lecturer gave me, but now I know that I can write about it. There are storage in computers, in other devices. You'll be surprised. You just begin to write things. And the beauty of that is that you have something to write, number one. Number two, right? If it's a lecturer that likes that, you should explain it in your own words. You've gotten it already, you've gotten that lecture already, right? But that's about that. Let's move on. Number three, you create fixed period of time when exam is when you have a short amount of time. You don't still not waste time. You need to have specific time. I remember, right? Then I think I'll just choose an hour because for me as a student, I have quite a number of things that I'm doing from just academics, right? I have quite a lot of leadership position that demanding. I mean demanding. So the only way out, I take a portion of time. It could be 1 hour, it could be 2 hours. Most of the time I take 2 hours. I just take that 2 hours, probably 7 to 9, something like that, 8 to 10. I just take that time I look for one place to go and read. I leave everybody. I just look for one place to go and read, and I put in my all into it. Like my phone is not ringing. There's no, I put off my phone, all of that. And because of how much mobility I have, I will not be able to read again. That's just the truth for me. So you have to have a time window that you will read and go all in. And if you do that, even when you are reading with your friends, if you have friends, it means that you've read a portion of what everybody's meant to read, and you can also contribute, right? It saves time. All right. Number two, how to study smart instead of reading everything. I've explained a bit of this, but let's see it very well here now. So you see now that it says connect to real world scenarios. It's not about the volume of what you read. It's about depth. I've done many courses that they will just lecturer will just give you textbook. Like they just give you textbook, and textbook be like 200 pages, 900 pages, even 1,000 pages or more. Especially all those computer or programming textbooks. Our students will be panicking. But it's at that time that me, I'm like, I'm happy about this. I love this. I like this. I like this. I like this. I like to rejoice when people are saying things are not going well. No, because I know that there's always when I'm giving that amount or that volume of textbooks, I'm happy because now I will not focus on the volume. I focus on the depth. I will just focus. I will look at. I can even handle the textbook. Right? What's the textbook? Introduction to programming language, or introduction to, let's say, for instance, I'm a computer science student, like I said, or introduction to, let's say, C programming. So I can see from the topic that the focus of this book is about C programming. Number one. All right, that's good. I can look at how C programming is used. You can even see even things are even much better now, which I would introduce like a website to you guys. But you can even use AI. I use AI. My study for my exam. It just help you. I'll just tell you to summarize it. Just summarize the whole idea of this topic into and connect it to real world scenario. All the things that I've told you, you can use AI for it, and it's just bring it out for you. And you see that wow, so this topic has a real world scenario like this and this and this. Because majority of the times, right, in universities, even though I know that there are few universities that do this, they do not teach you the real application. And that's because it's a system that is operating. Yes, the system is not bad. That's the way they did it. I'm telling you, if you read history, that's the way the system was designed. It was designed such that um you would go out of it, and I don't want to talk about that. That's not the focus of this life event, but that's how the system is designed, just like that. So you can use AI for these things. You have to connect that concept to a real world scenario, right? So you don't need to be remembering every word or every sentence or word of a definition. You can just speak it immediately. Then another thing you can do, I know many people don't like to teach, but this worked for me, right? And if there's somebody that like to, guide people, teach people about what you've learned, it's a good way. I can even remember in 500 level, first semester, yes, first semester, I think so. There was a course, that course was on networking. And if you know anything about networking is a topic that gives people problem because it has the numbers. That course, the course in ICT, or understand that course to an extent. And I said, many of my mates were struggling, so I was like, what can I do? I will teach about this thing. And because I made that decision to teach about it, right? I was that decision put me to go and learn about it, because I don't want to look stupid when I'm teaching it, right? Even though I didn't know everything, but I know I can give value to an extent. So I thought about it. Few people showed up, and they learned, and I reinforced what I've already learned before in the class. That teaching was for me. But it works, right? It works. So now the last thing you have here, which is still part of what I've still been saying, is you need to focus on understanding. Understanding is very important. Understanding, don't just pack information. Understand it. Even exist to read what's there you and something that to something you can still write about it. So it's very powerful. All right. Few mistakes that we make during exams, right, as students. There are a lot. Like I've said, this live event uh is not what's it called? It's not a it's not how would I call it? It's not like those webinars or those events that we do on campuses. It's about experience. It's about teaching you, sharing from what I've been able to do, right? Yeah. So common mistake that we make. I think like, right? Blank. I cannot be. Because like I told you earlier, my question is you were studying something for 2 3 months, and now you are giving 3 hours or 2 hours to validate all that you have studied, and you want to leave it blank because you don't know it. Why should you do that? Even though I know that people can do that, but now that you have learned how to connect what you learn to a real world scenario, you should not do that again if you were doing that before. Because if you leave a question blank when the lecturer sees it, it's like this guy did not even make any effort at all towards to even answer the question. It means that this guy is not serious at all. He's not serious. You give them an attitude to think like you are not serious at all. So you shouldn't by any means leave a question blank. I don't know it. I don't know. So I let it blank. I don't know. What this system right now, right? Because there are tendencies that you get some amount of marks, right? For what you've written, at least you need to write something meaningful down. So never leave your question blank. Number because if you leave it blank, it's automatically zero. Automatically zero. And you don't want that. There are times that I didn't know some there are questions that you don't know and you don't have an answer to. There are some lecturers that are very brutal that they will just give you textbook or just teach you simple things, and when you come to exam, they would oh god, oh my god, they will orchestrate the question as though you are a PhD student. And if you have that kind of lecturer, right, you cannot survive that course if you don't have understanding. I'm telling you, if you don't have understanding, I'm telling you, there are different times during, I think probably like 300 left semester. For every semester, right? For every semester, God gives me inspiration of what I need for this particular exam. And one of those things that He says, can tell me this exam you need inspiration, inspiration. So some exam is not necessarily and not necessarily about how much or not necessarily about how much inspiration is that inspiration on your own inspiration on a platform like that. You are inspired to act. So I've learned I've learned how to be just blank, you get zero automatically. And then like the games. For me personally, it's as bad as I am because I don't want to have any issue of there's no water, this and that, depending on how your campus is. There's no water, there's no, because those kind of things it destabilizes you. They bring anxiety, and you don't want that at all. And although sometimes this happens because it happens sometimes without being planned, right? Don't plan what happens, yes. But as much as possible, organize everything that you need before the exam, you're writing material so that you just go. You are thinking, I'm not taking that. No. Have a file of things that you need. Everything that is required of you, put it down. I think time calm. During the exam, there's a lot of pressure, a lot of anxiety that comes upon students, and that can actually affect how they think when they are writing the exam. It affects how they forget a lot of things. Some people have read a lot, but because of anxiety, because of pressure, they forget everything. They just go blank. You've seen a lot of stories like that. So to avoid that, you see, no matter how much you read, let's be honest, right? You are still under a level of uncertainty because you don't know what question is going to come out. So trust the process. Trust that everything will go well. You will do your best and leave the rest to God. Because you just start that you're not ready smart. You can't cover everything again. Just put it down. It has happened to me a lot of times. Just stop people. Let's just go. I've read my best. So how to approach exam confidently, right? It's very important. And I'm saying this because I know that there are different exams you will write that you will feel different during the exam or even after the exam. You feel like I wrote a lot. This one, I don't know how much. You can even be gauging yourself. You can be gauging how much you score. I don't know why people do that thing. Or let's say, for example, people can even say, I did not get that one. I got this. I'm like, and so what? You've written the exam. Let it go. There's no way to rewrite it except to carry over. Move on because you have other papers to write. So how to approach exam confidently? It still boils down to that strategy I told you about, right? Some the lecturer that gives very tricky one. I know a lecturer too. Let me say, I'm not fighting with him, but I'm like, why would you do that? You just teach simple things. I'm going to orchestrate very hard and tough exams for somebody. I'm like, who does that? Who does that? But you can only survive that kind of lecturer if you have understood the concept and linked it to a real life scenario, right? Now you're not just seeing what the lecturer has taught you, you are seeing beyond, you're having a bigger picture of how this thing is being used. Yes. So that helps you to go a step ahead. Even though it now brings something very hard, you can still be able to find your way around it and write something still meaningful. So yeah, you need to, okay, another part of this is you structure your thoughts. Example, and I know what it is. So, and God help me to overcome it. Like this switch that I'm telling you, you have to be able to keep that anxiety. Anxiety will cause you to make mistakes that you didn't even think you make it. So you have to be structured and round things. So how to exceed the expectation of this exam or that exam if you right? I've said before, you don't know. You can't, no matter how much you read, you can't know all the questions. You don't have to pressure yourself at all that you must know everything. You need to be calm, do your best. And I want to teach you something. God taught me, right? And my friends then had the privilege of sharing with them, and it actually helped us, to be honest. Is the fact that because sometimes, just take this scenario, sometimes I just finish exams and I'm going back, post them, and you are thinking in your mind, exam, I try that, there's no problem. Then another day, another exam, so that to fail during your exams, right? So now, what God taught me was that now my 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 exam, the outcome of my exam is not dependent on, it's not dependent just on my parts. There are two parts to play. There are two sections. My part is God's part. That's what brings me eventual success. I have to do my part. I have to do my part. Reading, studying, discipline, part, right? But with my part, as much as I know I don't no matter how much I feel, how I feel like an exam, committed to God, that is has helped me. Has helped me. I know it has helped me. It has helped me a lot. So you do your part seriously and just leave the rest, right? So some of the things that I felt like could be added to this, right? Because, like I said, this is not fully. It doesn't cover every single thing. It's just a platform to share with you what has helped me and how these things can help you to you pick them up. You can have past questions, right? Obviously, at every university has past questions for it, crying out loud. So you can have past questions, check the past questions. Although even past questions are limited in a way, depending on the lecturer that teaches you, but I've taught them or set the question. So you have to be very careful about past questions, right? You can the way you present your answer. I've talked about that when when it comes to understanding your lecturer as a person. You don't have to be close to the lecturer to understand the lecturer. You don't have to. Just have to listen attentively to him, check his thought process, see how he's speaking, see how he's writing, see how he's putting his notes, see what he wants from what he has given you. Yes, you can be able to what he wants from what he's giving to you. Yes, even from their test, from the assignment, from so I can't even forget level second semester. My last paper, that's like CSC. I don't know. Overnight that day. I don't usually read overnight, but I'm like, since my last paper, I give it my all now. Let me just put everything and just forget. I've finished everything. So we read overnight. Me and my friends came to my hostel. We read. So when it was almost daybreak, I woke up my friend. Go to your hostel and go and prepare. So I was like, ah, oh, I've not read my Bible at all. Oh, it's not good. Let me just see my Bible. I've not slept. I I just slept off, Jesus. And the exam was 9 a.m. And the time I slept was like close to about 7, early in the morning, whereby people are preparing to move. And that was night I slept off. Hey, I woke up 9:30 a.m. At 9:30 a.m. That I've not been as, I don't know what to call it, as organized as that day in my life before. I've not been where to go because 30 a.m. I've not prepared, I've not done anything. I'm like, but to, to the glory of God, I passed the exam, right? It was funny. But I just mean that you should rest. If you are going to, let's say you have a morning paper and you're going to read overnight, right? After the paper, go and rest, right? The rest is important. The rest is not counterproductive. It's not anti-productive, so to say. Is rest is very important for your productivity, your sharpness of your um something this, right? There was a friend of mine. We both graduated this last year, basically, right? And then his project was based on this thing I'm showing you on my screen. It's based on academics, and I was like, wow. And I saw his post on LinkedIn, and it was opening up like um a free, what's the word now, tier of his application. I was like, wow, okay. So let me open it for you here. Let's just take a free trial of it quickly. Let me open it and let me share the screen of that instead so that you can just see share this tab instead. So this is the application here. I believe you can see my screen. So we have quick learn dot app, as you can see here. Um, Sorry about my video is not on. The network is in code not so good, so my video is turning off itself. So you can see here now. I will click on start free. Let's just check. So let me create. Obviously, you have to like sign up and all of that, all those normal details of the thing. Then let me create new. I've not used it so much, but let's come here, create new. Let me create. Let's say I don't know. Okay, let's say academics. Let's just say something. Academics 101. It's just there's nothing big about it. Um, add to deck. Oh, sorry. Add to deck. So let's see how it works. Just to show you. Okay. So in this place now, no, no, no. What's going on? There should be a place for me to add like what's the word now? Add upload. I think this is it. Upload a document, and basically what the app does for you is that it just allows you to like it brings quiz out of a document you have uploaded, so you can have like a document. This is it here. You can have like a document. Let's say a particular note in PDF format or Word format, that kind of thing, and then you can just choose it. Like, let me just choose from here. Let me choose the document I'm using today, right? This one here. Let's just see. I've not really used this, right? But I was like, I will demo it here. If it works perfectly, let's see. It can help because AI actually helps if you know how to use it properly. What's going on? Oh my god. It's not picking it. Let me try something else. Let me try something else. Uh, Let me drag it. Okay. Okay. Let me try again for the last. If it does not work, we just move on, right? There's no big. Hello, can you hear me now? Oh, you can't hear me. Oh my god. All right, can you hear me now? Oh, it was not so long that you can hear me, just like 1 minute ago. All right. I was saying that you saw me demoing that application. I was like, that's something I feel like could help you guys. You can just try it out, right? If it does not, fine, keep on moving and reading. So I want Timothy to share a few things that ask questions. We can answer the question as much as we can, like based on what we know, right? Timothy, over to you. Are you there?
Yeah, good evening, everybody.
All right.
I hope you can see my face. Hopefully, the internet doesn't cut me off. Um, good
I
to see
can see your face.
everybody. Yeah, good to see everybody. Um, I've been listening, and what I can say sincerely is that Tolani has addressed just about everything, almost everything. So if we listen very well, and I hope we can get across to the slides, they are very, very helpful. Plus, if you've been listening, he shared stories, and a big part of learning is how stories help concepts to stick. So I hope that his stories will help you to remember the points that he's making. I clearly remember the story about rest and how he slept off on his exam day and all that. So basically, the stories that he has shared should help you to be able to recall the points that he has made, right? Something I want to say. I'm sorry, I don't have slides. Forgive me, people of God. I don't have slides, but I'll make some points. Hopefully, you can jot down. Yeah. So he's going to share the slides. So personally, I want to say that concerning confidence, there is there's a point to hold, and is if you're not confident, then you are afraid. But why should I be afraid? Because Tolani was talking about there are plenty uncertainties, and we need to navigate them, knowing that you can't always know everything. True, but apart from that, what does fear actually add to you? Eventually, fear does not change anything about your circumstance. Fear never changes your exam date. Fear never changes your lecturer. Fear doesn't change the questions that are going to be asked you. Fear does not fear does not even influence the place you sit down in your exam hall, if that is even necessary. Fear does not fear does not change the questions that have already been set. What does fear do? Fear does nothing except impede you. So really we must like face fear and see it as a real cancer and address it as it is, because fear does nothing to help you in your exam. So when we're talking about have a few minutes when we're talking about um yes when we're talking about confidence, just know that the opposite of it has nothing to add to you. Are you getting? So if you're not writing your exams in confidence, there's nothing that fear is going to add to you. However, the Bible tells us that who can by worrying add a single day to his life or change anything about their life? So just know that fear has nothing to add to you. So if you're opting for fear, just who am I afraid? If I'm afraid it's not going to change the exam date, I'll still write the exam on this date. If I'm afraid it's not going to change the questions, it's not going to change the lecturer, it's not going to change the marking scheme. So why am I afraid? Right? And cast your anxiety on Jesus. I believe that Tolani has already addressed the fact that there are two there are two parts to play, your part and God's part, and both of them have to work together to actually make you successful. So cast your anxiety on Jesus. It's actually a human tendency to be afraid. I'm addressing the fact that fear does not add anything to us, but I also recognize that fear is a human tendency. However, we we have a God who sits in heaven actually hears us. So cast your care on Jesus. Yeah, cast your care on God. Trust Him. Do your best and leave the rest to Him. Something else that I took personal through my time in school is that just about every course I like to see it from the perspective of who I am as an engineer, how it will help me. So the purpose of school, especially the university, is to someone a mentor told me the purpose in university you are there to gain universal skills. So at least in your first degree, you're going to be exposed to quite a number of things that are not really always core to you. However, it gives you knowledge to be able to speak in the room of different learned people, right? So while in school, I was exposed to philosophy, I was exposed to entrepreneurship, I was exposed to um, accounting, no, not accounting, I was exposed to economics, I was exposed to um, different other courses, right, that are not core engineering. They're not mechanical engineering or even engineering at all. But I like to look at it from the perspective where these courses are not borrowed, they are not just borrowed courses, they are my courses too. Because there's a there's a burden that it seems to have on the mind of students when you see a particular course as it's even this borrowed course that is giving me stress. No, is that this course too is important. So for philosophy, it exposed me to the thinking of philosophers. Now, if I'm going to do business with a philosopher, I need to know how he thinks to be able to communicate effectively with him. If I communicate with a philosopher like I'm communicating with just a straight scientist, scientists are part of philosophers, but they are more there's more to the scope of philosophy than just science. So it just helps me to understand their mind, and understanding their mind helps me to be able to understand them better. Understanding them better helps me to be able to communicate with them better. Quite frankly, if I'm going to do good business with them, I'm going to have to know how to communicate with them. So this is how philosophy can help me as an individual, right? Not to talk of economics, how to know how to value my services, right? How to know how to save, how to know how to handle money, because eventually the reward for my services is the how much value I can give, how much I can put worth to my time, my services. And plenty times people who have more understanding of money eventually gets more for less, while some people are just being skillful but are not able to get money for it. So it's also important to know how is this course relevant to me, and look at yourself from the picture of when you are achieving, when you're already implementing your career, not just as a student, but like when you're implementing your career as an economist. How would philosophy help me? How would entrepreneurship help me as a computer scientist? Or how will yes, how will bread making, knowledge of bread making and entrepreneurship help me as a mechanical engineer, right? So it's really good to know the relevance of every course, so that it's not just a burden to your mind, that you can actively pursue it, right? And then I want to also say that truly not every part of school must be a necessary evil, right? You truly can enjoy school. You truly can enjoy school. Me, I'm a big advocate for for enjoying the processes of school. Of course, there are some parts where you have to endure. True, it's not every part that is sweet, but as much as possible, you can truly make much more much more use of different courses and exposures that you have in school, that you get to enjoy and not just endure every part of your school experience. So, like in engineering now, as I studied mechanical engineering, I get to appreciate different things because of what I've studied, right? So I'm walking on the way and I'm seeing like a vehicle, and I'm seeing it high above the ground in Nigeria that we are now, with plenty potholes. I can appreciate the suspension system of that vehicle. And I'm like, wow, look at the design, look at it lifted off the ground. See how suspension is good. And when it enters the pothole is not good, but it's our reality in Nigeria. So just to bring context into it. So it's it's really important that you are able to make what you're learning in school relate it to your regular living. Not everything ends in the book, right? It's actually supposed to help us to live life from a more informed position. So it's really great when I can make my journey enjoyable, not just every part to endure. Don't worry, I have 2 more years left. Just 1 year left now, I'll graduate. It doesn't really make life better, because you should be preparing for when you graduate. So I can say that there's so much more to enjoy in school, right, than students like to harness. Please, as much as possible, make all your experiences enjoyable. Even as you're preparing for exams, know that you are being questioned on things that you should know, right? It's something that should flow from you, knowledge that should flow from you, that you are preparing for a bigger picture, which is outside school and after you've graduated. So don't just make it a necessary evil because school says you should write exams. You truly can enjoy preparing for exams. So that's those are a few points I want to share. And and I hope that you have a great exam ahead and enjoy school and your academic experience. Right? I understand the perspective where school gets long and boring and tiring. True, It's really true. And I believe that we should have learned a lot from Tolani about how you should not isolate yourself. We all need friends, right? That will push us to keep going, that will push us to aspire for the best. However, everything must not be endured. You can enjoy it too. All right. So thank you so much. I think that's it from my end, Tolani. Thank you very much.
All right. I just sent a link now. I was trying to find a way to share the PDF because some of us wanted to have access to it. So I kind of put it in the Google Drive and gave access. I'm not sure. You guys can check if you can access it. So something else I want to actually say as we are gradually coming to the end of this event is that okay, let me share. Okay, before we ask questions, we still have a few minutes. So, like I said, some of us, right, because I was reading why you guys wanted to join this session, and quite a number of people were talking about they want to learn about how probably how I or how they can manage multiple things together and right. So, for like I said, it's not also to right, but there's a provision for that. The next event we're having will probably be in a week or 2 weeks time, probably. But that event is majorly for that purpose, right? Like I said, as a personally, even Timothy and the person I'll be bringing up, I will share the screen now. Since you guys are in the session, you guys will be able to have the first access to it. Let me share the screen so you will see it, right? Just a minute. Okay, here we go. So this is it, yeah. This is a session we are going to be having. For the dates, right, it can change. That's why I'm saying that it will be broadcasted, right? You guys would see it, but this is what we are focusing on, right? Beyond the classroom, winning academics, leadership, and career clarity, right? Because for me as a person, and even for Kelvin, if you guys know him, some of you might know him, right? Um, we're able to, by God's mercies, right, to get clarity to win in academics, leadership, and career, right? So this upcoming session is for that, and we'll be dive into how we're able to manage time, share stories that you can relate to. So I would love you guys to look out to this, right, and then reserve a spot to learn, right? Yes, that's that on that, right? To learn, register down, reserve a spot for the upcoming so you can learn from people's experiences. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing, to be honest. There was one more thing. Have anybody been able to check the drive if they can have access to it? Please just text in the chat box so that I would have a response if you can have access to it so that I can know if I should work on it or something. So apart from that, I think you can have questions now. So you can ask your questions if you have any question, right, regarding the topic of today. Just feel free, right? Feel free. Over to you guys. Okay. Access is denied. All right, let me work on it as we ask our questions. No problem. So over to everyone. Chinemirim, Elisha, Heritage, Timmy, Tenny. Do you have any question regarding the topic of today? If you do, then ask. If you do, then ask. You can ask a question as I go and work on this drive to make sure that it's accessible to everybody. Um, so it seems like nobody has questions, right? Or you guys are shy to ask questions. Which one of the two? You don't, or you are shy to ask your questions. Okay, Tenny, your mic is on mute, so I think you are asking a question. If you are, I cannot hear you.
Okay, yes, you can.
Yeah, I can hear you now. You're audible. Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. You can go ahead now. Yes.
Okay. So I think my question is concerning um the study groups part. Yeah. So would you recommend, let's say, okay, my question is, would you recommend it for like everyone? Because let me use myself as example now. I'm the kind of person that, like, when, especially when I really really want to study and get focused, I really don't like studying with people because I don't know, it can be somewhat like I can move faster, right? On my own, not really much faster, but when I study, I like to study in depth, not just on the surface level. Do you get? So on that, based on that, I don't know. Would you say that kind of study approach works for everybody, or is very very much recommended for everyone?
Okay, let me say a few things on that. So, like exactly like I said while explaining, I know that there will be people that they love their space. Like me, I love my space, even though people don't think I do, but I love it, my space. And then even though yes, so what I would advise you to do is that don't pick one of the two sides. Don't pick reading alone or study group. No, merge the two together. You can have the two. So what you do is that because even in your reading group, if you guys are going to read in a group, you guys are still going to face the book and read together, right? So what you would do, what we did, right? And what I advise you to do is that you you make sure that you read, at least be able to cover some grounds for a particular subject or particular course, right, on your own, because that puts you ahead. You're not just going to the group like somebody that has nothing or has not read anything, and you're expecting others to explain stuff to you. And if you are in that state, it will take a lot of time for you guys to even you're not able to maximize the time since the time is short. So what I would advise is that you do your reading personally, but as a group, have a specific time that you guys want to meet together, and just come together, explain things in your own words, and make sure that everybody can draw on details quickly, jot down details, and you move on. So you can have the two. It just depends on how you organize it. Read alone, have a time that you read alone, then as a group agree to have a time that you guys will meet together. We do that actually, right? We do that. We're doing that in 100 level when our courses were still the same, right? Like me and Timothy's in engineering and in computer science. We used to do that then. But as time goes on, our courses were different, so it was not very flexible again. So what we used to do is that even though yes, we still used to come and read together, but we can't really now share what we are reading because our courses are different. But at that time, me and let's say my guys, the twins, right, we come together and we read together. Even after I've read, you can still go and it doesn't override your personal reading. No, it doesn't. So you can still read personally, but have a time, like schedule a time together to come together and share what you have read together. That way it helps, right? I hope that helps. So yeah. Um yes, okay. Thank you very much. The drive is working. Thank God for that. Finally. So Chinemiris, you said something. I think it was explaining the what is a summary okay, a summary. Okay, before I do that, does anybody still has any question? We have about 9 minutes more to end. 9 minutes more, so that I can just use the summary to round up everything. Round up everything. Um, okay, here we are. Um, so the first thing is that school is a system, right? You need to understand it's an academic system. There's a reason why it's called academic system. It's a system. And if you know anything about a system, there's a way a system operates. A system has different components or different parts of it that work together to achieve a particular result. And because it's a system, the results can be reproduced continually, right? If you follow the principle of the system. We have political system, we have all kinds of system, right? System everywhere. So I was saying that the first thing to do is to set a mental frame. And the whole of this that you should be able to capture the possibility of the grade you want to actually have in your mind. Yes, you have to like believe that it is possible to have this grade. Even though you've not written your exam, even though you're not done with school, right? And you don't even finally know, you don't even now know the CGPA you are going to graduate with, but like you believe that you can have this particular CGPA. You capture that possibility. And a few ways to do that is that you can learn from other people's story, like I did during my own time. I heard somebody's story, how they went through university, and then how they were able to finish with a excellent grade, and that alone made me to be able to have a possibility that this thing is possible. So that's one of the things that we'll talk about. And I'll say that when you do that, that helps you to have a goal in mind. Because if you don't have a goal, you're just working aimlessly. You have a goal in mind. I don't want to have anything less than 4.5 in any semester. That's a goal, right? Or all I'm saying is 5.0. I don't care. That's a goal. So when you do that, right, what happens is that your chances of hitting the goal is high. And even though you don't hit the goal, right, you will most likely fall close to it. You can have like 4.7. Like I did so many times, I had 4.7, I had 4.88, I had, all of that. So we talked about how to prepare when your exam is short, understand your lecturer, how they want you to, how they ask questions and what they would want you to, the answer they want from you. You can understand that while, listening to them attentively, checking their thought process to what they say, and don't isolate yourself, right? You can read with people, but obviously you have to read alone at some point, definitely, right? You can't depend on people every time, like for everything, definitely. There are things that you need to do yourself. Nobody will read for you, definitely. You have to create like fixed period of time. You can have like 3 hours in the particular day. You want to go all in to read, all in to read. No phones, no notifications. Put everything. Just go because you are trying to maximize the time because the time that we have towards exam is not it's no longer much again, right? So studying smart is not about reading everything. It's about depth, it's about understanding, and the simplest way you can do that is by connecting what you have been taught to a real world scenario, right? Something that can apply it to. I made an example of a memory, and I said I can see an application of memory in my laptop. My laptop has a memory storage, for instance, and it's used to store data. So me having that in my mind, even though I forget the literal definition of memory, right, I can begin to write down things in my own words based on my understanding, right? Because I've applied that I've connected that to a real world scenario, and then you can teach what you've learned. It's very powerful. Because that reinforces what you've learned, and it will even open up any weak areas that you have not probably really understood. But that's for people that really want to teach, right? Focus on understanding and your question last minute, like some minute to exam, you are trying to pack your things. It shouldn't be. You have to arrange your things even a day before, at minimum a day before. Put your things together, your documents, all the things that you need, so that you are not at the point of looking for something at a dying minute, and then you are anxious. Pressure comes in, and you forget everything you have written. All kinds of things can happen out of anxiety. So really not to be last minute, right? At least 30 minutes before the exam, sitting in the exam. Let your mind be calm, right? Yes, that's going to really help. So you can approach your exam confidently by still understanding concept, no matter how tricky the question may be. If you really understand the concept, you'll be able to write something down, right? If not write something very, very tangible, but you'll be able to write something down because you understand now. Not as though it's not as though you are just blank, you don't know anything at all. And you have to choose clarity, choose faith over fear. I'm telling you, right? Then I explained one of the that God taught me that helped me to deal with anxiety. Like, anxiety because it can fail even after you prepared in your best way. I'm telling you, it can make you fumble because even after you've done a lot. So the formula was that God showed me that for me to have success, I have a role to play. I have my part to play. Then God's part is also there. God's part is the biggest part, but my part is very significant. So when I do my own part, reading, studying, and doing other things, I should commit everything into God's hands, and it crowns my effort with success. So even when I finish exams and I feel like I didn't write as much, fine, I didn't write as much, but my success is not dependent on how much I've written. Even though I've written the best of my knowledge, I commit to God's hands, and I'm like, okay, my success depends not just on mine, but yours also. So I leave it to you. So additional points that you can check the patterns and be able to know what questions can come. And when you are presenting your answer in exam, present in a thoughtful manner, right? Organize your thoughts together. But lecturer complains that students are writing, their thoughts are disorganized, they can't even kind of pick what you're trying to say. And you must sleep, right? And take care of your health. During the exam period, a lot of people fall sick. I'm like, what is the meaning of this, right? So you need to take care of yourself, sleep, right? Rest. If you did overnight for your exams, after the exam, immediately go and sleep. Regain that energy back because you will need it. And I share this part. I think you were at this point. I share this part of this website that could help you. You can try it out. If it does, fine. If it does not, okay. And then I think that rounds it up. So I think, yeah, I think that rounds it up, right? Okay. All right. Any other question? You just have about a minute left, a minute or two. You are welcome. You are welcome, Chimemem. You are welcome. All right. Any final words, Timothy? You are closing it up now. Okay. All right. Good one. You got the website part. Okay. You can check it out. You can use AI. I talked about AI. You can use AI to just help you to connect a topic to a real world scenario, and you'll be shocked how that course they are teaching you, how it applies like practically. You'll be shocked. Right. So if there's nothing else, I really want to. I don't want us to forget. Uh, okay. I know. I don't want us to forget. I already told us that there's a session coming up, a live event that focuses on leadership, how to manage things together, even with your academics, and still come out excellently. I was able to do that by God's grace, and there are people that were able to do that. So you can share our experience with you, and you can learn from us. So look. How do I put it now? Be expectant for that, and then yeah, that's the main thing. There are more events coming up, a lot of events. There are events coming up on how to, how to start investing early as a student. I don't want to say everything here, but it's coming because for me, I started learning about investment. And when I mean investment, I don't mean all this all this nonsense that everybody used to see, all those rubbish things. No, I mean proper investment, proper. What bank do, what any organization would do, right? I started that early, and I used my my allowance once my take a part of it, and I started, and I'm still benefiting from it now even after I've graduated. There are other events on building startups. Some students have ideas, of this. They identify the problem, and then there is a solution, right? Give to that problem. About building a software, building a product, or building a company, right? So a lot is coming in, and I don't want us to miss out of it. All right, thank you so much for showing up to this evening. A lot of people registered, but you guys showed up. You guys completed it. You guys were able to get the full thing, right? So get the link, download the document. You can go through it yourself if you want to. But thank you so much for coming and attending. I might send you a message, right? It's, it's important to your mail to give a review of how the session was so that we can prepare adequately for the next. Thank you so much, and have a good night rest. All right. So, okay. Goodbye. Let me see that. Okay.